This is Art Television.
Coming Business, sponsored by
and a warm welcome to the business on Arts Television. I'm Hushain Ali and let's have a look at the headlines first. Central Bank extends the grace period of 4% working capital loan scheme from 6 months to 9 months. Investment institution shows confidence on the positive momentum in the stock market trading in the coming week. News in detail. Central Bank extends the grace period of 4% working capital loan scheme from 6 months to 9 months. Accordingly, beneficiaries of the working capital loan scheme who wish to receive a grace period of 9 months are required to make a written request. Having identified the national importance of revamping the businesses affected by COVID-19 pandemic, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, in consultation with the Government of Sri Lanka, implemented Saubhagya COVID-19 Renaissance Loan Scheme facility in 3 phases to provide working capital loans at the interest rate of 4% per annum with a repayment period of 24 months, including a grace period of 6 months. However, it is observed that most of the borrowers have experienced their businesses as expected due to the second wave of COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, having considered the importance of facilitating and encouraging borrowers to repay the loans without any failure, the CBSL decided to extend the grace period applicable for the loans registered under Saubhagya COVID-19 Renaissance facility by additional 3 months upon the written request made by the borrowers. Accordingly, beneficiaries of these working capital schemes who wish to receive a grace period of 9 months are required to send a written request to the relevant bank. The National Operations Centre for Prevention of COVID-19 Outbreak states that the isolation regulation imposed at Badugama Navajanapadil in the Matugama Divisional Secretariat Division has been lifted. Moreover, the Health Promotion Bureau states that 11,824 PCR tests were carried out in the country yesterday. The country saw 383 new COVID-19 cases, while cases being close contacts, thereby the case count of Palayagoda and Minuwangoda COVID cluster has surpassed 9,000. Moreover, the Ministry of Health says that another 563 coronavirus patients have been discharged from hospitals after recovering from the virus. This increases the total number of COVID-19 recoveries in the country to 7,186. The National Operations Centre for Prevention of COVID-19 Outbreak says that the isolation status at Badugama Navajanapadaya in the Matugama Divisional Secretariat Division has been lifted. Badugama Navajanapadaya was declared as an isolated area on October 18th in order to contain the spread of COVID-19. Also, last night it was announced that the isolation status has been lifted in Bulatkahupatiya police area and Galigamur Pradeshya Sabha area in Kegal district, which were previously declared as isolated areas. On the other hand, a total of 32 positive cases of COVID-19 have been detected from the Lady Ridgeway Hospital for Children in Colombo as of today evening. The director of hospital, Dr. G. Vijay Surya, added that among them are 20 children and 12 mothers. Thereby, there are now more than 12,500 COVID-19 cases in Sri Lanka. State Minister of Development of Common Infrastructure Facilities of Settlements and Canals in the Mahaweli zones, Siripala Gamlat, says that government will facilitate farmers in the Mahaweli zone, assuring them uninterrupted water for agricultural purposes. State Minister assured that the government has already identified the solutions for the issues faced by the farming community in Anuradhapura and Putlam districts. The government has planned to elevate the Kotmale Reservoir Dam by 30 meters and it will increase the existing water capacity of the reservoir. According to the State Minister, the planned modification in the structure is intended to irrigate more lands in the Anuradhapura and Putlam districts of the Mahaveli H zone, thereby increasing paddy cultivation and other agricultural crops. The officials who are in charge of the Kotmale reservoir said that under the new project to raise the height of the reservoir dam by 30 meters, the water capacity of the Kotmale reservoir will increase from its current capacity of 174 million cubic meters to 391 million cubic meters. The length of the current reservoir dam is 600 meters and its height is 87 meters. Further, the Kotmale hydropower turbines currently generate 210 megawatts and it could be increased to 240 megawatts when the height of the dam is elevated by 30 meters. Officials explained that more water will be issued via the penstock at Polgala Reservoir to Bovatana Irrigation Reservoir, thereby intensifying the capacity of the irrigation tanks of Kalaweva, Rajanganaweva, Dambulu Oya and Kandalama. With the increase of water capacity of these tanks under this project, new arable lands could be utilized for agriculture and the water sources of the new project could be used for drinking purposes in these areas as well. Stay tuned for more news right after this commercial break.
Every experience begins with a journey. Journey begins here. IWS Aviation.
Welcome back after the break. National sales average for tea has leaped by 24 rupees and 37 cents for the month of October from the month before showing and increased despite a dip in production. While the sales average totaled 643 rupees 70 cents in comparison to October 2019, average of 525 rupees 43 cents, the increase was 118 rupees 27 cents year on year. Elevation analysis of the same month shows that high growth recorded an increase of 44 rupees in month on month when September 2020. Furthermore, medium growth tea has averaged 58 rupees cents for October 2020, an increase of 30 rupees 10 cents month on month. Thereby, low growths totaling 608 rupees and 26 cents for October 2020 recorded an increase of 16 rupees and 65 cents compared with September 2020. The average shows a significant increase of 116 rupees and 6 cents year on year when compared to 561 rupees and 90 cents of October 2019. Thus, the analysis shows that for the January to October 2020, a national average of 625 cents achieved, which is of 85 rupees and 16 cents compared with the corresponding period of the previous year. Bringing the review of the market trading at the Colombo Stock Exchange for the gone week, investment institution First Capital stresses that a positive momentum was seen in the market with the increased number of COVID-19 recoveries in the country and with investors being adapted to live with COVID-19.
This week we've actually had a very strong market outlook where most investors are on a very positive attitude, mainly because if you see the COVID-19 outlook with the significant amount of recoveries starting to take place, we are starting to see the recoveries accelerate, and with that the investors are also getting used to the overall situation where they are learning to live with the COVID-19, plus there is news of possible release of curfew in the Western Province. And with these developments happening, there seems to be a significant positive attitude that has created to the investors. So with that, we are starting to see a major bull run in the market, and we've seen the market rising by around 400 points over the week. And on Thursday, we saw the market basically breaking the 6,000 psychological barrier again. And on Friday, another 80 to 90 point increase was seen. So we are starting to see confidence levels of investors. Specifically looking at it, it's more retail investors that are more involved.
Moreover, head of First Capital Holdings, Dimantha Matthew, put forward the forecast for the coming week.
Looking at the upcoming week, we believe the positive sentiment that is currently there in the market can flow on to another week. We feel that the investors will continue to go into these mid-cap counters where they are favorites. So basically, things to look at are mainly export-related companies and construction and building material sector. So those are the segments that have a significant interest at the moment. Also, food and beverage sector, which is gathering momentum and increasing. We're seeing increased levels of consumer demand. We feel that is another place that investors can look at. So in the coming days, we feel that these segments will have higher level of interest, and the retail sector is likely to continue to dominate the market.
World Bank stresses that it expects a gradual fall of global remittances going all the way to 2021 instead of their earlier projection of a sharp drop of 20% this year and 6% recovery in next year. Lead economist for immigration and remittances of World Bank, Dilip Ratha, highlights that the drop of global remittances in this year would range between 7 to 7.5%.
We are now looking at, instead of a sharp drop 20% in 2020 and then another 6% increase recovery in 2021, we are looking at much more of a gradual fall going all the way into 2021. So by the end of 2021, we would have seen remittances fall by about 14%. And this year, the fall would be more like 7.5% as opposed to 20%. So instead of down and up, we are looking at more like a gradual decline. In some ways, we are now looking at the pain sort of being shifted and prolonged a bit. The decline, the fundamental weaknesses in the migrants' employment situation, earning situation, that is going to drive much more of a decline in 2021. So instead of a sharp drop and then a gradual recovery, we are now looking at some fall. And together, by the end of 2021, we would end up where we were projecting also in the beginning of in April.
Speaking further, Dilip Ratha underscored that the migrant workers are at the front line of the global COVID-19 crisis and that the policy responses in relation to the migrant workers, cash transfer programs and social protection methods of them should be inclusive, protecting the well-being of the migrant worker and the recipients of their salaries.
It is very important to remember that migrants are in the front line of the current crisis. They are in the grocery stores. They are also in the hospitals, both at the end of the skill spectrum, the lower skilled people, as well as the highly skilled doctors and medical workers. And both are vulnerable to COVID crisis. So we need to be inclusive in our policy responses of migrants. And that is also true about being inclusive in our cash transfer programs and social protection programs of migrants' families who may be poor and they're in areas, in rural areas, in distant countries. And also to remember that if we help a migrant with $1, quite likely it's not only going to benefit that person, maybe 80 cents or 50 cents of that dollar will flow out as remittances to distant countries. And that would benefit 5, 6, 10 people more. So there is that need to keep remittances flowing, to think of migrants not as them or they, but as one of us. And we are all in it together.
Stay tuned for stock updates.
Simply clever.
Welcome back after the break. The trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today. The All Share Price Index gained 75.98 points to close at 6,080.09, and the S&P SL20 gained 22.90 points to close at 2,370.30. The turnover was 4.9 billion rupees and over 215 million shares were traded. Up next are Forex rates. And with that, we will be winding up for today. See you on Sunday at 7 p.m. with Best Roundup. Until then, take care and good night.